Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today we're doing an autumn cabin in Glimmerbrook Watch. Glimmerbrook is that beautiful neighborhood that we got with the magic thing expansion pack. What was the name of the expansion pack? I don't remember. But the expansion pack that we got when we got magic and wizardry and all of that beautiful stuff. And it's a really nice neighborhood to build in or to renovate the houses there because it doesn't really have a lot of stuff going for it anyway. It's kind of empty looking. So I really like to build cabins here. This one I was really fumbling about for about 20 minutes with just making the shell of the building. I wanted to make it a tiny home, like a tiny cabin and blah blah blah. And so it took me a while to figure out the layout and to make it work as a tiny home, but also with all the rooms that I needed and to make it functional. I wanted to make a roof where it's not going to be glass, where it was going to be the green eco-friendly roofs, and that we could use to put things on, and that we could have a ladder on the side, and then the sim could go up from the ladder and everything. So it didn't really work out, to be honest. It really didn't, because it kept adding tiles, and I wanted it to be around obviously 60 because 64 is the cutoff point for the tiny home, and it really wasn't working out for me. So I was literally tormenting myself for 20 minutes straight with that. I didn't keep any of the footage because there was no point. I ended up switching the whole thing around, making the house smaller, and then just adding the heaped roofs, and then making one part just to be glass, and then separating that into two so we can have one roof bit for the bedroom and one roof bit for the, what is it over there, the dining table, I guess. So yeah, and that ended up working much better as well. So I'm really happy about how it turned out. On the inside, it's pretty simple, but it's going to be decorated in a style of a modern cabin, if that makes sense, because I didn't know how I was going to go with it. Was I going to go with it for like a completely rustic, old type of cabin, or was I going to go for the completely modern, tiny home, Insta-worthy, Pinterest-worthy photographs of interior, small homes and stuff like that. So I decided to go kind of in the middle, actually, because I wanted it to have a bit of a rustic vibe, but not a super strong rustic vibe. I wanted it still to be quite bright and airy, even though it's quite small, but a bit colorful, but not too much, so not completely modern. So in the bathroom, I've added a ton of clutter as well, which I felt worked really well, but it wasn't overpowering. I wanted to go with marble. I don't know why in a cabin you would have marble, but here we are. And I love marble, I guess, probably that's why. But the lilac vibes that I had going on, I felt clashed with the gray vibes of the marble, and I didn't think it looked very well, so I switched it around and we went with a more like muted gray, kind of muted white, kind of off-white kind of thing. And I felt that then tied in very well with the marble elements of the bathroom, from the bathtub and the sink / countertops. And then the rest of the bathroom is pretty simple and pretty kind of earthy tones, but not too brown, not too overly brown. Kind of like that sweet spot of taupe brown and marble, which is very weird. I felt like it worked. I don't know. You can tell me what you think down below in the comments. And then moving on to the kitchen, I used a combination, and throughout this cabin, you're going to see it, I used a combination of Maxis items and custom content, which is usually what I do, to be honest. I don't usually build with either or, so it will be like a combo of things, because sometimes the item that I want that sort of speaks to me is a Maxis item, or sometimes it is a CC item. So why limit yourself, why don't use both? I don't see why not. So here we are using both. So the fridge is from The Sims, the actual Sims base game. I think it's the base game fridge. And the other stuff in the kitchen are all from different CC creators. The cabinets, those beautiful like sage green, oh my dear God, I want them in real life cabinets, are from a recolor from DK Sims, a recolor of the French country kitchen from Shino and Kansas City Rose. They're the ones that made the original French country kitchen, but it's not very nice in my opinion, the texture, the wood textures. So I pretty much prefer the DK recolored version, but I do have both, to be honest, the original and the recolor, because you do need both, otherwise the recolor has nothing to sit on and it just looks red. So you don't get an object to place. So I did fumble around with the kitchen as well, which I did cut off the very boring footage of me just rummaging around kitchen things for like an hour. And so the clutter is from a bunch of different creators as well. So see the last video, it was more like the shaker kitchen from Peacemaker and then the industry kitchen from Buff Sam, and that was mostly everything. But here I've used like more of an eclectic taste. I've used a collection of several different creators. And same thing went for clutter. I used at least 10 different creators and 10 different collections, just bits and pieces from everywhere, basically. So yeah, so I created like an entry hall area over there, and then that was it. It is quite a small house, which is very unusual for me, because usually the things that I build are much larger and heavier in like the amount of objects that they have in the house, the amount of activity objects and lots of different things. But here it's much more condensed. It's like only the absolutely necessary things, as I guess you would be in real life, wouldn't you? If you had a little cabin or you lived in a tiny home, you can't have a lot of objects, right? Because there is no space. And I guess that's the appeal of having a tiny home, is that you can be, I guess, clutter free, or you can have just the absolutely necessary things and not have to have loads of extras. So yeah. So that's a bit of what I'm doing here. I'm trying to decorate the bedroom and only keeping one small laptop. I think this came with either University or Strangeville. I think this is from University, this one. Yeah, and I wanted a very like simple setup. This could be a cabin for a writer or for somebody that works online, or even for a gardener or an angler, the fisherman type of person. And then you can use the computer to like do extra stuff online or to sell your things online and things like that, which is really nice. But I guess it wouldn't really suit somebody like a maker, somebody that makes a lot of things, because you don't have a lot of stands to put like the candle making thing that we got and things like that, and the fizzy drinks kind of stand that we got as well. But maybe you can do the knitting, because that's one square, one tile basically, right? And you can have it in your inventory, basically in the Sims inventory. So that could actually work out, because there's chairs you can sit on, and then you can just knit and then use the computer to put them on like Blopsy and stuff. So that could actually work out pretty good, I think. But yeah, there's not a lot of places. Like I couldn't fit a sofa or anything like that. I did manage to fit a TV. In a minute you'll see I'm reworking a corner of the bedroom there. And this dining set is from two different creators as well, because the original ones wouldn't fit in there. So here is the bit where, yeah, I deleted the curtains, I put in a TV, so the Sim can sit on the bed and watch TV, basically. Or I didn't put anything else there, so you can't really play video games and stuff like that on the TV, but you can do on the computer. And a couple of plants that I wanted to like enhance the decor with, which I really love. I use plants a lot in my builds, and I think this was really cool because even in a tiny house you can still fit plants, and I love that, because in real life that would be me. We would be drowning in plants and soil in the house. So then I worked on the landscape a little bit. I'm not great at landscaping, I don't think. I mean, I do the best that I can, but I don't think it's really good. I think there's a lot of other creators out there that do landscaping a lot better than me. But I did download a few new collections, like the Ivy collections from 2 different creators. So I wanted to give it a try. And I think that was the best option, to try it at like an outdoor kind of woodsy vibe house to see how it works. And I ended up loving the Ivy trellises and like the sets that I downloaded. It's all going to be linked down below, like always. So yeah, I didn't do a lot with the landscaping. I kind of kept it a bit just simple, I guess. Just a bit more simple. It's not like crazy work. And most of the plants as well are from the Debug catalog. So they're not bought and they're not CC. Some of them are CC and some of them are from the actual Build By catalog, but most of them are from the Debug catalog. I'm not gonna lie, especially at the front of the house. These solar panels are going to change around 3 times if you stick to the end of the video. Now the outdoor decor and the things that you're going to see me build, most of them are from a CC collection pack, the PTS Cottage Garden. That's where the majority of the items are. And then the sofa and the table and the little sitting area that I'm going to make in a minute, they're again from Jardin, because I adore that pack and I find it so versatile. It works so great in like posh builds, and it works so great, in my opinion, for builds like this, like out in the countryside. Let's make a little garden outside, blah, blah, blah. What are you going to use? Jardin. Amazing. So yeah, so you're going to see those 2 packs that feature mostly outside. And they're really nice. And I did use a fire pit in the end as well, which, to be honest, I don't know. I don't really play with it as much. I want to play with it, but I end up just forgetting that it exists. I mean, it looks pretty cool and all, but it doesn't have a lot of gameplay attached to it. Like your Sims, what do? They just sit there and they like bake a marshmallow or whatever, and then that's it. And they just warm themselves up. And I'm like, well, what is the point? Like, give us more, more options of what to do with the fire pit, because it's so cool. I don't know. It's kind of a bit of a disappointment for me, actually, to be honest. I would have wanted more things. But that's the Jardin seating area that I made there next to the pond. I was too bored and I was already 5 hours in, so I was not going to build a pond by myself and decorate it with the rocks and everything. I was like, no, you know what? We've already spent too long on this cabin. So I ended up just buying the fancy pond from the famous Living? Why do I keep putting living next to every pack? Magic Living, Famous Living, University Living. Anyway, from the famous pack with the actors and all that stuff that nobody likes. So that's the end of the video, guys, and we're going into screenshots. There are quite a few because I really enjoyed this build. So yeah, screenshots and everything is going to be linked down below. If you have any questions about any CC, just leave it down in the comments and I'll try to find the link for you. Yeah, and see you in the next video. Bye, guys.